Hello everyone, and welcome. I'm excited to kick off today's presentation with a fascinating question. Can linguistic structure explain our cultural values around equity, diversity, and inclusion across the globe? The title of our talk is, Can linguistic structure explain cultural values toward equity, diversity, and inclusion across the globe? We'll explore how language shapes and reflects cultural perspectives on these important issues. Over the next few slides, we'll look at different linguistic and cultural insights that may help us better understand these complex topics. Let's get started. Language is truly more than just a tool for communication. It's a fundamental part of our identity, shaping who we are and how we see the world around us. As UNESCO highlights, language influences our social and cultural interactions, as well as political and economic structures. It's like a living mirror reflecting the incredible diversity of human experience. When we talk about linguistic diversity, we're really celebrating the richness of human culture itself. This interconnectedness of language and culture underscores why preserving and understanding different languages is so vital to appreciating our shared human heritage. This linguistic framing influences how entire cultures understand concepts like group identity, belonging, and social structure, which are actually the foundational elements of equity, diversity, and inclusion. Different languages don't just have different words, they categorize reality in profoundly unique ways. For example, the Dirable language is famous for grouping women, fire, and dangerous things into a single noun class, which offers us a window into a radically different worldview. This highlights how language acts as a lens, shaping our perception of the world and our place within it. By understanding these linguistic differences, we can better appreciate diverse perspectives and challenge our own assumptions about social categories. Ultimately, recognizing how language frames reality helps us foster more inclusive and equitable environments. Multilingual education plays a crucial role in creating environments where linguistic diversity is truly valued. When we support multiple languages in the classroom, we encourage greater participation from students who might otherwise be marginalized. This approach promotes equity, ensuring everyone has an equal opportunity to succeed. It also fosters stronger community cohesion, because language is a key part of cultural identity and connection. UNESCO advocates for multilingualism as a fundamental part of building inclusive societies. By doing so, we empower marginalized communities and help preserve their rich cultural heritage. This ties directly into the overall theme of social development, highlighting how embracing multiple languages can drive social inclusion and strengthen community bonds. Ultimately, multilingual education isn't just about language learning. It's about creating more equitable, cohesive, and vibrant societies for everyone. Let's explore how linguistic patterns can offer us insights into cultural values. Now, it's important to remember that correlation doesn't necessarily mean causation. Just because two things are linked doesn't mean one causes the other. However, examining language structures can give us a fascinating starting point for cross-cultural inquiry. For example, languages that tend to use more direct forms, meaning they have straightforward ways of expressing ideas, might be associated with cultures that emphasize individualism or have a more uniform view of social interactions. On the other hand, languages with more elaborate grammatical forms, such as those expressing politeness, hierarchy, or collective identity, may reflect cultures that hold nuanced perspectives on equity and inclusion. This leads us to our core hypothesis, that linguistic structures are connected to societal values. By studying these patterns, we can gain deeper understanding of how different cultures view social organization, hierarchy, and community. Overall, this approach helps us see language not just as a tool for communication, but as a mirror of cultural priorities and social norms. This slide explores how language reflects and shapes cultural values, particularly around respect and hierarchy. You see, in Japanese and Korean, honorific systems are deeply embedded into grammar. This means that verb forms, pronouns, and vocabulary all change depending on the social rank and the relationship between people. These linguistic features are not just formalities, they encode a sense of role-appropriate regard. What's fascinating is how this influences the concept of equity. It's not about treating everyone exactly the same, but about recognizing different roles and showing appropriate respect accordingly. This case study of honorifics illustrates how language maintains social harmony and reinforces hierarchical structures, which are central to understanding these cultures' approach to respect. So, when we look at these systems, we see how language doesn't just communicate information. It also subtly guides social interactions and cultural values around respect and hierarchy. Research suggests that grammatical gender can have a measurable influence on our attitudes toward gender roles and stereotypes. This means that the way languages structure nouns can subtly shape how we perceive and think about gender. In particular, in languages like Spanish and French, every noun has a grammatical gender, either masculine or feminine. This might seem like a small detail, but it acts as a cognitive filter, influencing how speakers conceptualize the world around them. For example, the gender assigned to a noun can shape our perceptions of associated concepts, roles, or even behaviors. This connection has important implications for how communities approach issues of gender equality and inclusion. It highlights that language isn't just a communication tool, it also shapes our societal attitudes and beliefs. So, understanding these nuances can help us better address gender stereotypes and promote more inclusive perspectives. This is a clear example of how language influences perception, which ties directly into the broader theme of our presentation on gender and societal change. Let's take a closer look at UNESCO's Global Roadmap for Multilingualism. Its main goal is to leverage language technologies to make sure that all linguistic communities are fairly represented in the digital world. This is about creating an inclusive digital environment where everyone's language is visible and accessible. Now, even though there are over 7,000 languages spoken around the world, only a small number actually dominate our digital infrastructure, media, and AI systems. This means that most languages are underrepresented online, which poses a serious challenge for digital inclusion. In fact, more than 7,000 languages have little to no presence on the internet. That's a staggering barrier because it essentially excludes these languages from the digital space, limiting access and participation for their speakers. This leads us to the concept of the digital divide, specifically related to language. It's estimated that around 98% of the world's languages are excluded from the digital realm. This gap affects global access and reinforces inequalities, making it clear that language diversity in digital spaces is a vital issue to address. So, the overall message here is that bridging this gap is crucial if we want a truly inclusive digital future, one where every language has a voice and every community can participate fully. Recognizing the role that language plays in shaping our values is crucial. It helps us develop a more informed and compassionate approach to global citizenship. When we understand these linguistic and cultural connections, we can foster greater empathy and improve the way we communicate across different cultures. This understanding allows us to be more respectful and effective in our interactions. While it's true that the relationship between language and cultural values is complex and not strictly causal, linguistic structures give us valuable insights. They serve as a lens through which we can better understand why cultures prioritize certain things over others. This is a solid foundation for deepening our work around equity, diversity, and inclusion, EDI. Ultimately, this slide is about bridging the gap, moving from just understanding linguistic structures to gaining a richer cultural understanding. It's about seeing how language influences values and behaviors, helping us connect more authentically and thoughtfully with people from diverse backgrounds. This approach supports our overall goal of cultivating a more empathetic and inclusive global community. So, as we look to the future of diversity, it's clear that embracing linguistic richness is vital. We need to translate our linguistic insights into concrete actions, whether through policy, education, or technology, that promote equity, diversity, and inclusion worldwide. One key step is to act as champions for linguistic heritage, recognizing that protecting the voices of marginalized and indigenous communities is about more than preservation. It's about affirming their identity and rights. We also have to preserve the deep connection between language, culture, and values, because understanding this link helps us foster greater awareness around equity, diversity, and inclusion. And most importantly, safeguarding linguistic diversity isn't just a cultural concern. It's a fundamental part of building truly inclusive societies and education systems. By doing all this, we ensure that our efforts to embrace linguistic richness contribute to a more equitable, diverse, and inclusive future for everyone.